with that, away we go. So the first little area is just going to be a tutorial section where we learn about how to do the basic game mechanics. And this is something where you can't really speed it up too much, even on a New Game Plus run. And basically I'm following along with Homiron's plots whenever he tells me to go and try something out, and then in between those you just have to clear off these slimes that are coming down out of the channels, and that'll trigger off the next sequence to fire. For PS3, it's primarily going to be the disk load speed for running this game. PS4 has a much faster load time, and so I can imagine that there might be more differences there. So that was Homiron just taking us through the basic controls for using the menus, and then all the different attack features. Basically have a light attack and a heavy attack with your weapons, as well as a magic spell. Each of the characters in the game, whether it's the original characters or the ones that are coming from the existing Dragon Quest universes, tend to have a couple of different unique things, so there's not really anything very in common with them, except for like the two main hero classes. They try to make those a little bit less distinct just so that you wouldn't have too much of a disadvantage choosing between Acto and Mei at the beginning. This roll, thankfully, is not a good movement mechanic. It is a good way to dodge enemy attacks, though. It'd be really frustrating if you had to do that, like, running around everywhere rolling. Right there we get a quick introduction to treasure chests. In that particular treasure chest is a small medal. Because this is New Game Plus, I don't need to collect anything. I should probably change the game title. Thank you, Villigent. That will slowly morph over the next couple of cutscenes that I have to do this in. He was talking about the little games section that I've got right above my splits. So I like to put the game name in the system there just so it has fewer people asking questions on it. So now we get an introduction to one of the other mission types here. Those first few ones are just kill all monsters. And about half the game, the maps are kill all monsters as the objective. The other half is protection quests. And so basically protection quests, you have to guard a particular objective. You'll see the life bar of that objective on the right-hand side of the screen. In this case, I need to guard Homiran from being killed by the monsters. And it generally makes the scripting more difficult because you have to balance clearing the monsters out with making sure that you're not leaving your objective undefended. This one's very annoying because you can kill the early ones so quickly that the guys in the back there haven't spawned in yet. And if you get too close to where they spawn in, they'll actually just sit around waiting to cross that line. So I like to run back and keep my guys from harassing the monsters there so they walk in more quickly. Before I knew that the monsters would refuse to walk in if you were too close, I would try to be right up next to them to kill them as soon as they crossed the threshold there. And that could actually take about a minute longer to do that map if you do that. Here's our first boss, the classic green dragon from the original Dragon Warrior. A lot of the early bosses are just going to be completely destroyed thanks to being New Game Plus. Early on you have to kind of figure out what the mechanics are. Like, for example, the green dragon, he's got weak points at his head and at his tail. And so you want to target those and try to avoid him either doing the teeth attack or the tail whip in order to do the maximum amount of damage. Now, this particular map doesn't end until they also teach us about tension, so we'll see a whole bunch of gates appear, and monsters continue to spawn in until we get a cutscene by Dirk. Right here, we're just killing time until the cutscene happens. Here we go. And this tension move is a mechanic that I'll be using throughout the game. Basically by charging up your power meter, either by sitting here and holding down the circle button, or by doing combo moves. Basically lets you do these high-powered attacks, and each character has their own unique version of it. And over the course of the game, your tension attacks actually improve. So right now we've got tension 5. After we do a quest in the middle of the game will get tension 20, and you can actually boost it all the way up to tension 100. And that just means that your finisher move is going to do more damage. Now we can finally put some equipment on. And this is basically the best equipment that you can have for New Game Plus. You can't keep everything because unique quest items don't get preserved between games. But you can have everything you can basically buy in a shop or make through crafting. And I also gave Maya the Dragon Warrior 3 hero outfit. You can either get this outfit by pre-ordering the game, which I did not do, or instead, if you didn't do that, like me, you have to beat Zoma, who is the very last of the DLC super bosses. And that guy is really, really tough. This first map here is going to be a scripted encounter where there's going to be 3 of those gates that spawn in. And I happen to know where they're going to spawn, so I can just go right to them. It's basically kind of teaching you the mechanic that you're going to be using throughout the game for tracking down the bosses that are guarding the gates. That's the little guy that's got the kind of black and purple smoke effect around him. If you kill that boss, then the gate closes. And if you're very quick closing the gates like that, for example, this last gate here, normally a golem would come out if you left the gate open. So being able to get the gates quickly and killing the bosses before monster spawns basically lets you go through the maps more rapidly. But it has the downside of it usually triggers additional events to happen. So if you, for example, have a protection quest, you might not want to close the gates as quickly, just because then you might be swarmed with low-level monsters by triggering additional things later in the map. This camp here is just a temporary base where we're operating out of. We're going to have a nice flying battleship for most of the game, and these first few quests are actually what we're doing in order to get that. And the flying battleship basically acts as our home base, which lets us go to any of the maps that we want to in the game, and it's got all the vendors as well that we need to interact with. This is also a tutorial for these cannons. Julieta, who's one of the new characters in this game, basically has a specialty for making these type of scientific magic crossovers. And so she's built these cannons that do these gigantic blasts, and you use them in a couple of missions. I'm just waiting for her to get through all the cutscenes so that I can actually kill those monsters in the back.
このフォルム素敵でしょ。さあ、早速動かしてみて。
この街にある不思議なものは全部ジュリエッタの発明品なんだよな。
すごい。ねえねえ、どうしてこういうものを作ろうと思ったの？
And you can either kill all the monsters directly with the fire from the cannon, or you could let them run away after it, and it's slightly faster if you do kill them with the cannon directly. But it'll trigger the mission to end either way after you've fired all your shots. Right at the beginning there, we got a brief introduction to the Leaf of the World tree mechanics. So now I've got direct control over the other 3 characters as well. And when you've got a multi-character battle like this, basically you can revive characters in your party that have fallen. But you've got a limited number of times that you can do that, which are your world tree leaves. You can see the ones I've got in the bottom right. Around this time, you're also going to see monsters start dropping monster coins. Basically, once you defeat a monster, you've got a small percentage chance of them dropping a coin, which lets you use the monster in combat together with you. I try to avoid most of the coins because there's a little pop-up that takes 4 or 5 seconds the first time that you get a new monster type. But during the regular game, they're quite useful for 2 things. There's defender monster types, which basically you put down in an area, and they'll help guard it. And then there is status effect monster types. They might do things like restore your MP or put enemies to sleep or something like that. It's usually themed to whatever monster that you killed. Hey there, High Spirits. Going pretty good. I think I can get sub 4. It'll be close. 4 hours feels like a good amount of time for a Dragon Warrior game, though. If I remember correctly, the last one is going to be on the left-hand side. Don't worry, I'm sure when you do any percent and have to go through all the leveling and grinding from scratch, it'll be a little bit longer than 4 hours. I kind of think that somewhere in the 7 to 8 hour range is going to be good for an 80% run. Um, Unfortunately, 100% is not really viable. I found out that I can do all of the achievements except for the one that requires you to have 30 hours of playtime. So now we're going to get our second boss here. This is also the mission where Alina and Christo from Dragon Warrior 4 join us. Throughout the game, we're going to get a couple of different parties coming in from other parts of the Dragon Warrior series. And for my party, I'm going to be using Jessica from Dragon Warrior 8 and Bianca from Dragon Warrior 5 as main characters, as well as Terry from the Monster series. What you're supposed to do for Gigantus here is use those cannons. You can see it up in the top side of the screen. There's another one on this side. Right up there. And if you shoot him in the eye, he does a large amount of damage. But for New Game Plus, you can pretty much take him on toe-to-toe. I basically want to just start by building up my tension until I get a full bar, and if you do a high tension attack on him, it puts him into a kneeling pose where he's more vulnerable. Quit kicking me here. We actually got him kneeling a little bit early, so I could just use my double jump in high tension in order to rake down his body because he's so tall. That's really the fastest way to go. And you only have that double jump while you're in tension mode. Normally you've only got a single jump that you can use. So here's our swanky flying battleship. It's probably the best way of traveling in any Dragon Warrior game. And the first thing I'm going to do here is go over to Luis's bar, which you might remember from Dragon Warrior 3, and use that to kick everybody else out of my party. Flying bed is pretty good. I will give you that. See, I need Julieta, and I need to talk to Acto as well. They've got basically a couple of quest points that you're supposed to be encouraged to talk to everyone when you first get here, but I happen to know exactly the ones I need to do in order to unlock the first set of missions. And the reason I kicked everybody out of my party is because I've got an item on Maya which makes her stronger the fewer people that you have with you. And so since all the other ones are just kind of scrubbed characters that aren't going to help me in combat, I'm just boosting her stats by doing that. It also lets me have a lot of the new characters drop directly into my party. So Terry is the first person that you get, and since I want him in my party, I have to have a free spot for him anyway.
そっか、君は浮いてるから流砂の上でも平気なのね。
読めたぞ。みんなよく聞いてくれ。竜砂の上では人だけでなく魔物も。
あ、そっか。動きづらいのは魔物も同じってことね。
There is an accessory I could use to make it so that the quicksand wouldn't affect me, but it's not worth the time to put it on and then take it off again.
竜砂の上を普通に歩けば
As long as you're jumping, you pretty much don't lose much speed at all.
確かにそんな発明品があったら便利ね。時間ができたら考えてみようかしら。え、本当にできるかもしれないの？すごい。さすがは研究所の所長さんね。
そろそろ町の外の魔物も打ち止めか。最後まで気を抜かずに戦い抜くのじゃ。
That treasure chest there is a mimic. There's lots of trapped treasure chests in this game. The higher ones, like Pandora's boxes, do nasty stuff like cast instant death on your whole party.
こんなところで負けてらんないわ。
So we haven't gotten much about the story yet in this game, and they keep it kind of hidden from the main characters for quite a while. But basically you have a world where all the monsters in the Dragon Quest universe get along with the humans at the start of the game. And then suddenly the monsters all go berserk, and at the same time you also have characters from these other worlds start appearing. And it turns out they're all connected. When we get to the end of this little series, we'll meet Helmuto very briefly, who is the guy controlling things behind the scenes.
いざ突撃！
これはかなりの数の魔物です。姫様、ご無理はなされませんよ。
大丈夫よクリスト。このくらい楽勝楽勝。ダイヤモンドダスト。
この乾いた風、肌を焼く強い日差し。武術大会に出ていた頃を思い出すの。
And you're probably seeing a little bit of a flashing shadow effect around Maya. It's because she's got the Falcon Sword on, and like the Falcon Sword in early Dragon Quest games, it basically lets you do multiple attacks, and they do that in this game through kind of a clone mechanism. So instead of having multiple attacks, you have multiple copies of your character. I don't think it's a particularly good weapon, but it happens to be the best one that Mei can normally buy. Acto actually has a better weapon in terms of attack power from available in the shops.
要は勝てばいいのよ。勝てばね。
There's a couple other characters that have that clone form. They get it naturally. So Terry is going to have one, and he's actually the reason. It's actually the reason I use Terry. is it allows me to do a lot of damage very quickly on bosses. And Alina also has a clone form. This mission, we also get introduced to these offshoots of the World Tree for the first time. They're going to play a role throughout the entire game. It turns out that the World Tree is what was suppressing the evil nature of the monsters, and that's the reason why in this particular world they're all friendly. And since this is a protection quest, I have to be careful that while I'm back here taking out all the monsters, they don't rush my World Tree shoot. This mission has a couple of guards that help you out, and so I don't really worry about the time on it. But there'll be later missions where the protection quest becomes more of an issue because of that.
最後まで気を抜かずに行くぞ。
When you're in high tension mode like this, not only do you run faster, but you're also immune to status effects. So it's often a very quick way to get around. So the boss of this section is going to be a trio of killer machines, and after that Terry is going to join our party. Like a lot of mechanical enemies, killer machines are going to be weak to lightning. So I can use that to temporarily stun them and then just put the hurt down. lost a little bit of time on the fight. The rest of the missions went pretty well. Normally what I like to do is get the killer machines grouped up all together, and that way when I'm using Diamond Dust, it's hitting all three of them at the same time. They got around me kind of like a triangle shape, and so I was only able to attack one at a time. It made it slightly slower. Okay, what else do I want? I want a Power Ruby, and I want a Battle Choker.
お手紙が届いていますよ。それではまた。
And what I just put on Terry was a Meteorite Armband, which slightly increases your running speed. The one I've got on Maya is a much better crafted one. So basically when you make accessories, you can refine them with additional crafting attempts in order to improve their attributes. It's a real pain in the butt though because it's random, and so you either have to get a lot of materials or do save scumming in order to improve your accessories. But I only need one of those really souped up Meteorite Armbands. So that basically is going to increase the running speed. The Power Ruby makes it so that I do critical hits more often. And critical hits are useful because I've got skills that restore my MP when I get critical hits, as well as give you slight buffs. And then finally I put Battle Chokers on, and see those armored guys? Normally you wouldn't be able to hit them most of the time because they would block with their shield. If you've got a Battle Choker on, you can attack them right through their shields. And there's not that many monsters that it applies to, but it saves a tremendous amount of time on this particular type. And at the end of the map, what you see pop up there is any alchemy ingredients that I haven't collected. They'll disappear naturally after like 30 seconds or so, but if you finish a map while there's those bags still hanging around, you get all the ones automatically without having to go and run around for them. And in between those maps that are popping up are mini-maps where the boss refights can be done, so you can go back and refight like the Green Dragon or Gigantus. After you beat the game, there's also super versions of each of the bosses, and those super versions are what drop the best quest weapons. So there's an example of monster coins. You don't have this entire pop-up every time you get one, but that first couple of screens where it was telling me what the monster properties were comes up every time you get a new monster coin. And that's why I try to avoid most of them, because I'm only going to see maybe a couple that would actually be useful in a run like this. Nice, we got to that guy fast enough that the Metal Hunter that normally spawns there didn't appear.
この調子
よーし片付いたっと。
So this next mission is where Jessica and Yengus show up. And in the first part of the mission, you basically have a choice whether you're going to follow Jessica or Yengus to help them out. I choose Yengus because his side of the map is a little bit more compact, and so it's faster to go kill everything on that side. Jessica has a wonderful intro cutscene that we're skipping. Basically, she flies in and magic bursts the entire area. Magic Burst, for people that haven't played the Dragon Warrior games, is basically a move that consumes all of your MP to do really, really massive amounts of damage.
村のあちこちで魔物が暴れているでガス。とっとと追っ払ってやりやしょう。村人の身の安全が第一じゃ。魔物を倒し、すべての家を守り抜くぞ。
These jerkbirds are pretty annoying because they have the ability to basically dodge your attacks whenever they feel like it. And unlike the knights, which have a shield, the battle choker doesn't have any effect on the birds. Most flying enemies have something like that. We'll see it with the hawkmen and gargoyles as well.
困ってる奴がいたら助けるというあっしの仁義に従っただけでガス。
斧の破壊力ってすごいのね。私も使ってみようかしら。
姫様そのような野蛮な武器をお使いになるなどどってのほかですよ。
となるとあっしは野蛮な武器を使う野蛮なやつってことになるでゲスな。
いえ決してそんなことは。
ジェシカの方は大丈夫でガスかね。
We actually finished so fast that they haven't had time to do all of their cutscenes. There's a few places like that in the game. We'll finish the mission, and they're still talking and explaining to you how to do it.
もうひと踏ん張りでゲスよ。最後まで。
要は勝てばいいのよ。勝てばね。
The rest of this section is going to be a boss troll and Star Chimera pair. And the boss troll isn't too bad. It's the Star Chimera that's very obnoxious because not only does he have that property that normal chimeras have, which makes him hard to hit, he also has this force field effect, which makes him completely invulnerable. And if you're getting through here without New Game Plus, like this is your first time playing through the game, you'll also find out that the Star Chimera will just sit there and heal the boss troll. Now luckily I've got enough attack power that I could just power right through that and do the boss troll first. Otherwise you have to do a pretty long sequence where you kill the Chimera first. So here's Terry nuking bosses. Okay, now let's see how well that Chimera does.
あっしなんか
Basically, I can only hit him right after he does that flamethrower attack, and he's kind of in that sleeping pose. Once he puts that green shield up, then I can't hit him anymore. Excellent. Really quick flamethrower there. Ah, didn't quite get him in 2 cycles.
このスターキメラってやつは魔物ながら賢いでゲスな。それに
That was still a really fast fight, though. He can just sit there in his invulnerable phase for like 15 or 20 seconds if he feels like it. And since you have to do 2 or 3 attempts on him in order to get enough damage, that can add up over the course of the battle. But that one really cooperated.
もっと楽しめる相手はいないのか？
Now that the chapter's over, I'm going to have Jessica and Yangus in my party. I'll actually kick Jessica out temporarily because I need to have Giulietta in for a specific mission later on in the game. And so I'll keep Giulietta there until that mission's over. But I won't do any of the party shuffling until I get Bianca. Here we start getting some of the Mud Hand enemies. Mud Hands actually are involved in a large bug in Dragon Warrior 2. It's mostly done in the Japanese community, but there's basically a way to warp to the end of the game by having too many Mud Hands summoned into battle at once. You can also see a Metal Slime there. He's the guy that's silver and sparkly on my minimap. He's probably moving too fast for you to see him when he runs around on the ground. They work just like Metal Slimes in other games. They're very hard to hit, so they will dodge almost everything, and they will give a ton of experience when you kill them. When I played through the first time, I did not get very many Metal Slimes, Metal Babbles, and Metal King Slimes throughout the game. And now that I'm speedrunning it, I get them all over the place, which is annoying because there are parts where it requires you to have all the monsters off the screen for the map to continue. And so I have no idea why they're suddenly so prevalent going through this. So this map is just pretty much wide open. All of the terraces here you can just jump down and up. There's not really any good bottlenecks that you can put on to group all the monsters together. It's which means you're just kind of wandering around whatever pattern seems the most efficient for killing everything.
全部やっつけてやるわ。
I like to basically do one side of the map and then come back and clear out the other side. Where are you going, Panther? Killer Panthers are in that group of enemies that are really fast and agile. They don't do a lot of damage, but they can pretty much keep you stun locked or knock your characters down, which makes them aggravating to fight. Bianca's high tension move is actually a Panther summon where she'll bring one into battle and it'll go charging off in a direction. Speaking of Bianca, we're about to meet her and Flora here. When they came out into this world, they arrived here in Doedokia, which is the town of the dwarves, and they've found a little girl and her fiancé that's been split up. So these next two quests are going to be dealing with the dwarf and with Bianca and Flora. They won't actually join us until we've done all of these. This is another map where there's no really obvious best pattern for clearing it out, since again it's pretty much just wide open. And as Flora is doing right now, you do get some backstory for all of the different characters. So she's talking about the kind of marriage quest between Bianca and Flora in Dragon Warrior 5. As the main character, you decide which of the two you're going to marry. In the remake, they added a third girl as well. And right there, I just changed away from Maya when she was about to do her high tension move. Since there weren't any enemies around, it would have just been a waste of time to have the animation play. And as long as you're not actively controlling the character, they just lose their high tension attack when their tension meter expires. These bubbles are Flora's attack. She's not very much in terms of a physical attacker, but she does have buy kill, which is a useful spell for increasing your overall damage. I'm actually torn whether I should take Flora for buy kill or Jessica for healing.
一度にすごいことが起こりすぎて考えが追いついてこないからですわ。
It's a little bit slow getting to that Gate Guardian, so both the Troll and the Metal Hunter spawn. I try to make it there fast enough that I only have to deal with one of them. Oh, we didn't freeze him, but we did knock him on his butt. I basically want to take the Battle Rex out of commission because even though he can't do much damage to me, his roar stuns your party. And so you basically can have to sit around for a couple seconds if he gets it off. And since it's kind of an area of effect, if all of your characters are grouped around, you can't even switch to somebody else because they're all stunned. The last quest here before the boss is going to be a protection quest where we're going around escorting the dwarf looking for her father. And like a lot of quests in this game, she's going to try every wrong possible avenue, and every time she picks a wrong location, we'll have to fight a bunch of monsters off. Now she's going to run off, but I'm staying here because more monsters are going to spawn in. Very nice. Flora dropped a buy kill on me, so I was able to kill the guy back there in only 1 diamond dust.
そういえば私たちの父も今頃探してるかもしれないわね。ええ。あ、大変。お父様なら捜索に町中の人を使いかねませんわ。あなたのお父様が心配で倒れちゃう前に元の世界に戻らなくちゃね。そういえばビアンカとフローラって同じ町から来たのよね。幼なじみ？お友達だけど幼なじみってわけじゃないのよ。
The tension I'll use for clearing out the very final room in there. And I have nothing else to do while these cutscenes are playing.
あら意外ね。息もぴったりだからてっきり長い付き合いかと思ったわ。そうなのです。私もビアンカさんとは初めて会ったという気がしませんのよ。でも幼なじみといえばビアンカさんには素敵なお方がいらっしゃるのね。まあね。お父様いらっしゃいませんか？いいわよ。勝負あったわね。ここにはいないみたいです。他の場所を探しましょう。いいわよ。お父様いらっしゃいませんか？ここにはいないみたいです。他の場所を探しましょう。
As she comes down, more monsters are going to spawn, which is why I put Jessica in detention here.
覚悟するのね。わかったわ。
じゃあ
なかなか見つかりませんね。どこで迷子になっているんでしょう。あの二人がこの町で迷子になるってことはないんじゃない？お父様いらっしゃいませんか？いっぱい出てきたよ。
あちこち歩くのも飽きてきたところだちょうどいい運動になるぜ。
逃がす
And you think all those troll guys would be monsters you have to beat. Normally you have to beat all the big guys. But it turns out you only have to beat the 2 in the back there, assuming you get there fast enough.
とりあえずなんとかなったわね。
The boss of this area is going to be Granite Titan, which you might have seen from like Dragon Warrior 3 and guarding Zoma's castle. These guys are basically really heavy physical attackers. This particular battle is set up... Oops. Need to talk to Dirk first. This particular battle is set up so that it's a boss battle as well as a protection quest. So the Titan's actually chasing around the girl's father and her fiance. So you have to kill it fast enough to avoid them being stomped on. For New Game Plus, obviously, I'm just going to go up there with Terry and absolutely wreck this guy. And what I'm using with Terry there is basically his Falcon Sword ability, which allows him to create those clone forms, and then his Whirlwind attack, which again is just going to be him using his normal sword attacks, but the two stack together. So it's like having him do all the attacks in the Whirlwind twice because he's got the clone form on. And that's why he's able to do so much damage as well as to rack up so many hits and so much tension quickly. This quest right here that I'm doing is to upgrade my tension from 5 to 20. It's not all of that good of an upgrade. The reason I get it is because it's actually required later on in order to advance the storyline. So you get to the point where you're in the Sea Shrine in a couple of maps, and it'll just tell you that you have to go and increase your tension. It's because the reward for that quest is another boost to your tension. And rather than let you do them in either order, they required that you do this side quest first before you can advance the main line. Gagoro here does a lot of the introductions for the optional quests where it's just kind of explaining new story mechanics. I'm doing the tension one. I'm not doing the Ruda quest, which is the... I guess the equivalent of the return spell, if you're familiar with the English Dragon Warrior games. Basically lets you warp around to different points in the map. And it's pretty useful in normal play. It's just, it takes about 5 minutes to do the quest, and so you don't make up that time in a speedrun. The first part of this quest, what I have to do is increase my tension up in order to do a high tension attack. You actually have a time limit of 2 minutes before you just automatically lose. That should not be a problem. And now that we've gotten this one down, it'll reset the map. And the second part of it is going to be a Metal Hunter that can only be killed by a high tension attack. And I'll take this opportunity before he spawns in to get about 30% of my tension bar charged up again. I don't know who these jerks are that keep hitting me, but it's resetting my combos, which is making it take a little bit longer. You get tension build up faster if you maintain long continuous combo attacks. So normally I'd be able to do that in 3 cycles instead of 4, but because I got hit, it took extra time to build up the tension meter. So that's all we need to do to boost our tension gauge to 20, and that basically lets me do twice as much damage on my high tension moves for the finishers, in addition to being just mandatory for advancing the plot along. Now at this point I'm going to kick Jessica and Yangich out of my party. I want to get Bianca in there for the World Tree. Her long-range attacks are really effective against these scattered enemies. And I'm also pulling Giulietta in here now for the quest in the Ancient Village where she's required later. Okay, Power Ruby, Gold Ring, and Battle Choker. And the accessories I put on Bianca, the Gold Ring increases the damage that she does against flying enemies, which is pretty useful when a lot of the range attacks that she is going for is because the enemies are flying. The Battle Choker gives her the ability to attack those armored guys with their shields. Again, so I don't have to switch off characters in order to tackle that one particular type of enemy. And finally, the Power Ruby gives her more critical hit chances. And since her multi-spell here takes a lot of MP, I need to restore it as quick as possible. And so getting critical hits lets me use the skill that every time she gets a critical hit, she gets 10 MP back. And it lets me continue almost indefinitely with it. And one effect that you might see from time to time on this map is that enemies that fall off the side wherever you don't see a barrier around the ledges here, instantly die. If you fall off the side, you just take a little bit of MP damage or HP damage. But it can be a quick way to kill off monsters if you can knock them over the edge.
さらに上も攻め込まれておるんじゃろうな。
この調子で次も頑張りましょう。
Later on in the game, you can also come back to the World Tree, which is where Pizarro, who's the main bad guy for Dragon Warrior 4, hangs out, and he's actually a recruitable character in the DLC.
どれだけの数を倒せるか限界に挑戦してみるのも悪くない。外からも魔物が来るんだ。やったな。いちいち相手をしていたら先に進めない。
でも放っておくわけにもいかないわ。なんとかしなくちゃ。世界樹って私たちの世界にある不思議な木に似てる気がするわ。
あの幻の孤独のことでですか？全然大きさが違うでガスよ。
So these World Tree maps are particularly good for Bianca because you can see that there's multiple levels and there's not a lot of good pathways to get from the top to the bottom. So it's often a much faster way to move around if you can just attack things at range with the bow instead of having to run up to them.
強そうな魔物さんですよね。皆さんお気をつけて。
Radiho there is the sleep spell. You might have seen the little bubble that appeared around the Hell Crusher. That's Bianca's magic move. It's decent enough, given that she's also got great range attacks to justify her being in the party. The other ones that are pretty good are Flora's Buy Kill. For new game runs where you don't have all the overpowered stats, Christo's got Increase, or Scuto in this game, which is a defensive boost. Now the boss of the World Tree section, this is actually a really short map as well, is the Dark Golem, and he's got an interesting twist where you have to kill him twice. The first time you kill him, he just gets back up, and that's where it tells you that you need to knock him over the side of the World Tree in order to take him out for good. And if you don't do it, then he'll basically just keep getting up over and over again. There's phase 1.
が入り込んでいる
And we have to actually wait for the next cutscene to start before I can skip ahead.
まずいわ。祭壇が壊されたら大変よ。一刻も早く奴を倒さないと。
ここからが本番ってわけか面白い
Okay, that got him mostly towards the edge.
聞いてないってことはないんじゃない？
Okay, now he's staggered and I can push him over. And you only have 3 hits in order to get him over before he stands back up again. So I try to get him to go towards the edge so it makes it a little bit more likely that I'll be able to knock him off the side.
当然の結果だ
He's really tough to steer around though because he's got this spinning attack, which just can go off in like any crazy angle. What we're skipping there is a cutscene where Helmuto, who's the main bad guy for most of this game, kidnaps one of your characters. He'll pick whoever is not chosen as the hero at the start. So since I picked Maya, he will take Acto away. And vice versa happens if you pick Acto. This is one of my favorite music tracks in the game. It's from Dragon Warrior 2 originally, when the tower music. You hear it a lot when you're going after those stupid crests that have been hidden, especially the one with the gremlins.
力やっつけていくわよ。
And the trick to this place is these teleporters. Basically, I'm going to go around in a big loop, taking out all the monsters, but eventually you find out all the way at the top are teleporters that lead down to where they're actually spawning from.
狙いは女神様の祭壇ね。
And technically, you're supposed to be guarding this door throughout the entire battle. But I'm going to do it fast enough I don't have to worry about the door being attacked.
了解だ
That's a quick introduction to environmental traps. Those 2 statues that are standing on either side shoot out fire. And you basically just have to not stand in front of them.
分かったわ。
厄介な相手のようじゃな。だが何としても倒して先に進まねば。
ダイヤモンド。ダイヤモンドベスト。
Okay, looks like I got all the spawners up there, which means everybody left should be on the second floor here.
よーし、全部やっつけたわね。先に進みましょう。
And So that was actually a really good first map for the tower. When I got up to the top floor, one of the gate guardians actually despawned. So normally I have to go all the way around to the back side behind where the flamethrower statues were to take him out. And he just was not there. This next map is kind of clever. It's basically a moving elevator, and kind of like a beat-up game where you're in an elevator, and monsters are just coming in every time the elevator stops. More and more keep coming in, and you're just kicking them off the side of the elevator. That's basically what's happening here. So you see these doors with the red lines. Those are where the monsters are going to be spawning in over the course of this. And the first couple of ones, it's only like 1 or 2 of the entrances the monsters spawn from. But it'll get more and more frantic over time. Now the downside is because it's an elevator, it's basically turned the mission into an auto-scroller, so I can't make it go any faster. And like the very early mission in the game where I didn't want to crowd the entrance to prevent monsters from coming in, here it doesn't matter because it's all time-based. And so if I crowd them, they actually have fewer that spawn over the course of this. And if I crowd them enough, you'll actually see some of the remaining monsters get cut in half when the door closes back up again. After you beat the game, there's actually a super high difficulty version of this map. You can only use Mei and active together, and it's a lot of really high level monsters that spawn here, doing essentially the same concept. And that's a really fun one just because you are completely overwhelmed and you don't have access to a lot of your best tools. Like you don't have Jessica to heal, you don't have Flora or Christo to cast buff spells on you and so on. It's just the 2 hero classes. Getting close to the top. Still a couple more to go. The Hull Crusher there is one of the few things that can put a hurt on your statue if you're not careful. Let me actually grab one of these bomb crags now. I'll use bomb crags in the King Hydra fight. There's a kind of an optional mechanic which lets you do a bunch of damage to him if you have a bomb crag thrown in his mouth at the correct time. Fortunately, we're almost at the end. Cool, so now this section ends with a battle against a King Leo. King Leo is basically a super upgraded version of the Lion Roar. And he's not too bad, except that he really likes to jump around, make charge attacks, and has an ice breath, so I have to be a little bit careful about standing in front of him if I want to be able to take him down quickly. But otherwise, it's just the normal get Terry into clone form and use Whirlwind until he passes over. This is one of the few battles where I actually use the auto targeting feature so that I can see where the boss goes. Normally this is more of a liability because it'll spin your character around in unpredictable ways.
ならば強敵ですよ。
たとえ強敵でも倒してみせるわ。彼を助ける方法を知るために。あの猫さん、とても凶暴なのね。顎を撫でたらおとなしくならないかしら。まず猫かどうかが怪しいわ。キラーパンサーとは違うみたいだし。
And he did try to use his ice breath once, but I think he got interrupted by the fire from the statues. The ice breath is the most annoying thing for the boss battle, just because if you lose your main attacker Terry, then you have to wait for about 10 seconds for it to wear off.
まあこんなもんか。
And in the cutscenes that we're skipping here, we've got the Goddess of Light telling us a little bit about the backstory, which is Helmuto and the World Tree, and how the World Tree has been imprisoned. We're imprisoning this dark dragon called Shamdar, deep underground. And then at the end, Bjorn the Behemoth from Dragon Warrior 5 comes and completely wrecks that tower. Bjorn is a super boss that you can fight in the DLC. He's probably the second hardest after Zoma. And this next section is going to be the Underwater Sea Shard. And this is where we get the final character. We're going to get Manya or Mara from Dragon Warrior 4. All of the Sea Shrine maps here, I tend to use Bianca, just because her range attacks ignore the fact that there's all these barriers and crooked passageways to go around, and I can just cut around the corners with the shooting. Ah, there is a guy back there. I saw a dot on my minimap, but I couldn't see the actual character that was. It was one of those shocking slime jellyfish. Teapot there is magic refill. I usually don't have to worry too much about magic because I've got the Power Ruby on, and so she's going to get lots of critical hits. The guy left back there is a stone man. He will eventually wander into a spot where I can more easily attack him. So coming up next, we should be actually meeting Manya. Manya basically got stuck in this world like the other crossover characters, and because she was all alone and didn't know what to do, she just started dancing around in the sea shrine. Since we got Manya, we also get the awesome Moonbar Sisters music from Dragon Warrior 4 Chapter 4. I think this is everyone's favorite overworld theme from that game. Normally you get this really depressing tune when you go into Chapter 5, but if you put one of the two sisters as the leader of your party, you can get this music for the entire rest of Dragon Warrior 4. Manya's a bit obsessed with money, which is why you find her in Endor Casino in Dragon Warrior 4 when you reunite with the hero. And so in this world, she tries to hit on the hero quite a bit if you play as the male guy. And she'll also kind of try to get money from King Dirk here. And I think around this time is when the Gate Guardians start spawning together with Archdemons. Archdemons are... I think the first time they appeared was late in Dragon Warrior 2. They're basically guys that cast Exploit in their highest level forms. And they'll have a lot more HP, so I won't be able to take them down with Bianca's arrows. There's one of the Archdemons. That big circle that appeared on the floor is the monster's casting radius. So when he's casting Explodette, you can see where it'll hit if you're standing in the circle when it goes off. And right there I used a trick, which is Bianca's arrows are auto-targeting going off to all the different monsters on the screen, but they'll pierce through any enemies that they happen to pass through. So if you stand right in front of a big monster, while there's lots of small ones behind it, it'll hit the big monster multiple times.
そうじゃな。わしには数えきれんほどの宝があるの。
For this early part of the map, I'm mostly going to focus on killing the Gate Guardians to make the next part of the triggered sequence happen faster. So I don't worry about taking down all of the big monsters until they get close to my statue. You can try to kick those guys out blind around the corner, but if you're completely blocked, it's not always going to hit, even though it looks like the arrows are piercing all the way through. And so I like to kind of poke my head around so I can see at least a sliver of the Gate Guardian that I'm trying to shoot at. That way I can see if his health bar is going down or not. What's spun up there is a movable statue, which is the lower level version of the Granite Titan. We also get a couple of Arc Demons in the back. The map is pretty much over there. I just have to take care of all the monsters that have already come out. There shouldn't be any more gate incursions coming in. The final part of the Sea Shrine area is a two-section boss battle. Both sections are going to be just Maya fighting them. The first one is the Light Dragon, which is what you're fighting to qualify for possession of the Bracelet of Light. And the second one is the Dark Puppet. That was what captured your alternate hero back at the World Tree. So you fight the Dark Puppet in order to free them, and then when you get back all of your characters at that point. This is one of the reasons why I have the Demon Necklace on, which gives me additional strength the fewer number of people that are in my party, both for the couple missions at the beginning, before I get Terry, the Tension Quest, and then finally this section as well. I use Tension to put the Light Dragon into stun, otherwise he basically becomes damaging whenever he has that glowing effect around him. And he also has an invulnerability phase. I just skipped the first one of those. I don't think I can skip the second one, but he'll basically jump back onto the platform behind him and then do a series of attacks until he comes back down. And I was actually really close to getting him for skipping all of the invulnerability phases, which would save a ton of time. For the second one to skip it, you basically have to keep him in that frozen state so he can't move. Let's see if we can take him down with the high tension attack. Yeah, he should be woozy. Just a sliver of health left. That was still a decent fight, though. And as a reward, you get your tension bumped up from level 20 to level 50 there. That's why you have to do the early tension quest. Coming up next here is the Ancient Village. This is basically Giulietta's hometown. And so for this entire sequence of missions, you have to have Giulietta in the party. And that's why I kicked Jessica and Yankees out earlier, is so that I wouldn't have to do another character swap right there. After this sequence, though, I'll put Jessica in the party. Her hustle dance is pretty much the best way to heal. The only other thing that you can do is either get Hoimi stones, which are items that you can charge up and use in battle, but you have to take the time to charge them at the front desk beforehand. Or you can wait for Homiron to just randomly come and heal you, and you can't control when he does that.
リアリと化するのは危険だな。落ち着いて全ての魔物を片付けるのだ。
片付いたみたいね。さあ、先を急ぎましょう。ついてきて。
And this map's going to loop around where, just like the Dwarf quest, Giulietta goes to all of the wrong spots looking for where the entrance to the hidden village is. And we'll eventually end up in that circular area in the bottom right. And have one heck of a big battle there. And I try to do that fast enough so that Giulietta does not climb up into that back platform. We have to go over to this corner area here next, and if she's up on the top of the platform, she'll sometimes get stuck and not want to jump back down.
昔はここから里に入れたんだけど、みんなごめんなさい。戻って他の道を行きましょう。ダイヤモンドベスト。
私たちが引き返すことを読んでいたと。
You're too far away to move, aren't you? You kind of have to drag some of the NPCs around for these quests, where if you're not close enough to them, they won't advance to the next phase. And for this quicksand sequence, since we don't have Julieta smart enough to be able to jump like we do to get through there fast, basically trying to lure her so that she is ending up on the side that we want her to at the end. Because she'll run back and forth trying to fight both of the parties that spawn in.
分かったわ。ちょっと待って。私たちもそのよそ者じゃない。そうね。でも大丈夫。私に任せておいて。
鮮度は多分やつで最後でガスよ。やっつければきっと里に入れるでガス。
And in this final section here, there's basically going to be one magician controlling a whole lot of gates. And so I'm going to try to run up to him really quickly and get a high tension move off at the beginning. And hopefully he does not teleport away before I can knock him all the way out.
行くわよ。 ここで決めるわ。逃がすな。ちょっと嘘でしょ。最後の最後にこの数って。
俺たちの動きはお見通しってことだ。魔物ながら完璧な作戦だ。じゃあ
So that went extremely well, because we got the magician down quickly. Otherwise, all 6 of those gates just start spawning things in continuously. And it's really hard to find out where he is, because you're just in the middle of this swarm of enemies. But if you take him down at the very beginning, then he doesn't have the time to blend into the background.
私の力、みんなの役に立ったかしら。
So the last of the major areas in the ancient village here is going to be protect the villagers quest, and there's going to be 2 villagers, one an old lady, one a nun, who you have to escort up to the corner. And what I found out is you can basically trigger both of them to go at the same time, because they take a really long series of cutscenes and explanations before they start moving. So you basically can start one off and then go all the way over to the second one without interrupting it. Actually, no, wait, that's the one after this one. First we have to do the Protect the Gates quest. This is the one with the annoying imp cannon up there. I've been trying to block this one out of my mind. Basically up there is an imp who will keep coming back to life and attack the front gates. And so you have to run around knocking out all the spawn points while also periodically taking the imp down. And originally I thought you had to be all the way up at the top in order to hit him, but with Bianca's multi-range attack you can get him from the ground floor, which saves a lot of running around back and forth. This is another map where light summer rain is just wonderful, since there's all these swamps and barriers that make it hard to move around. And so rather than having to run all the way into the swamp down there, for example, I can just stand up here and shoot downward. There's the imp cannon coming back to life again.
装置がまた動き出したわ。放っておくとバリケードが危ないわよ。
I'll probably have to take him out 3 times or so over the course of this map. Stoneman that comes out is a little bit too powerful for me to do with Bianca's bow, but I can use the fact that he's going to charge the gates, since it's my protection objective, in my favor. Since I know he'll basically park in that area, I don't have to lead him around.
確かに一筋縄にはいかなそうだ。が、俺に作戦がいいか。まずは
長い作戦はパス。完璧な作戦がなくたって勝てるわ。私たちならね。
了解だ。
Yeah, Stoneman even just wandered away on his own. So now we've got the quest with the old lady and the sister, where we have to go and escort them up to the corner of the map. And this will also be the first return of a green dragon, which we saw as the first boss of the game. This one's actually going to be way buffed up compared to that original one. So while I'm rescuing the old lady, I'm also going to go rescue the second villager as well.
ちってもしかしてよそ者？掟的にヤバくない？ええ、覚悟の上。今なら移動できそう。さあこっちよ、ついてきて。オッケー。サニラレンチ、サニラレンチ、サニラレンチ。今なら移動できそうね。さあこっちよ、ついてきて。サニラレンチ、はいよ。サニラレンチ、サニラレンチ、サニラレンチ。
了解だ。
はあ、なんとかたどり着けたわ。ジュリリン、ありがとう。
Now, luckily, those villagers don't follow me. They actually go straight to where their objective is supposed to be. Later on in the final few maps with El Ceza, we'll have a similar rescue the villagers type of quest. That one's a little bit more frustrating because you have to actually lead the villagers around and follow the paths that they do in order for them to continue to progress.
やれやれ、どうにかついたよ。ありがとさ。
よし、作戦通りだ。これなら戦いながら2人同時に守れるな。なるほど、理にかなっているな。長いだけの作戦じゃなかったってことか。終わりだ、終わりだ。
ここの守りも万全というわけではないわ。みんな気を抜かずにね。
皆の者、最後まで確実に守り抜くのじゃ。
Pretty soon, the dragon should spawn in. That's what I've got Terry's tension up so I can knock him on his belly quickly.
やったわね。
行くぜ。見せてやるぜ。ジオスパーク。
That actually just killed the gate guard. It didn't do that much damage to the dragon. You have to do a lot of rounds of Whirlwind and Falcon's Sword in order to get him down.
力を合わせてしのぎ切りましょう。
And so we got about 10 seconds of that original Dragon Warrior 1 music. They tune to that every time you have one of the green or red dragons show up.
大したことなかったな。
Boss here is another one of those paired ones. This one's going to be a demon user who's like one of those big multi-armed guys together with a super killer machine. And they are both going to be attacking a gate guarding the ancient village along with two of those imp cannons. So it's mostly a battle of speed in order to take them down before they destroy your objective.
また不趣味な装置がふるさとに設置されるなんて屈辱よ。あの装置も霊木を狙ってるみたい。
So as long as he doesn't frost me,
いっぺんに相手
then we don't have to worry too much about the first form.
だけの数の武器を同時に扱えるとは器用なやつでがす。何か撃つ手は。
みんなで連携して戦えばいい。腕の数で負けはしないさ。
This should hit the super killer machine as well as kill off the demon user.
ジオスパーク。
Terry's got a line attack, so you have to be more precise using his tensions than someone like Maya.
確かにな。武器の腕でも負けてないぜ。
あの魔物の金ピカの部分もしかすると金だったりして。
ぼーっとしてると痛い目に遭うぜ。こ いつは他の魔物とはわけが違うぞ。
He's going berserk.
あの独特な姿といい動きといい、一筋縄ではいかなそうな相手です。
Very nice. I wasn't sure I was going to get the super killer machine at the end there, because when he's in that berserk mode, he's turning into like a whirlwind, which is really hard to target onto. But I got lucky with Terry's overhand smash attack. And the super killer machine basically flew into it while I was in midair. We're down to the last couple of sequences. The first one is going to be another trip back to the World Tree, and this is going to be the shortest of the remaining quest sets that are left. So if you remember the last time we were here, it was a more cheerful and happy place. Monsters have also gotten an upgrade. But they still have the same mechanic of being able to knock them over the edge. Lots more of these jerk birds than before. Those red slimes, in addition to being able to heal fellow monsters for, I believe, 999 HP, also have a ton of health, so they're pretty annoying to deal with. Just barely avoided the freezing breath from the silver bat boons. You can see that Maya got stuck with it. CPU is normally better than that about staying out of the way of breath attacks. At this point we also get a guest appearance by Pizarro. He's going to take care of some of the monsters on the lower floor. And even though that Hell Crusher is there, I don't believe I have to deal with him. It should only be this upper section that I need to go up to. Yep, looks like the Hell Crusher has disappeared. That's why I stayed up on top of those platforms, so I wouldn't have to run all the way around in order to get up here. And of course, we get up here, and it turns out to be a trap.
なら楽勝ね。
姫様さすがです。ですがお一人で前に出られてはなりませんよ。よし、祭壇の前の道が開く。
At this point, I'm going to take the opportunity to go back to Luis's bar and swap out Julieta for Jessica. And Jessica's going to be my main healer for the rest of the game. I don't have anything really special to put on Jessica, so I use Sorcery Rings. Sorcery Rings are an accessory where if you put all 3 of your slots on to the same item, you'll get a big boost to your stats. Otherwise, they do absolutely nothing. This guy is called Hell Butler. He's going to be the boss of World Tree Part 2. And the only thing I have to really watch out for is he's got an attack where he does a purple mist all around him. And if you get hit by that, then basically it does the equivalent of Stop Spell. And so you can't use any of your special attacks for a little while. But once I get up to full tension on Terry, then I could just ignore it because you're immune to all status effects at that point. And that section went really well, even though it was a pretty short area. Mostly because I didn't have to go chasing around any of the enemies in the first map. I managed to stay up on the top and take care of everything with Bianca at long range. Next series of maps is going to be on the Emerging Island. This volcano, it's been mysteriously sitting on our maps, wondering when we're going to go to it, and finally it's now time. And here's where we're going to go and face Helmuto. We haven't seen much of Helmuto because we've been skipping all the cutscenes, but trust me, he was the big bad guy for most of the game so far. This is a bit of a weird map because it's really inconvenient to get around. And then what you have to actually do is kill all the monsters while protecting Homerun down at the bottom. So if you're not careful, you could end up having to do a lot of trips just because Homerun will get swarmed. This lava area is another place where you can knock monsters off the side. Can't knock these big guys off, but most of the small fry, like the dead corpses, it's faster to knock them off than to kill them.
あと一つね。よーし、張り切っていくわよ。
Demon user that just spawned out there is going to be really annoying unless I can get back down to home run in a hurry. I basically have to kill the Gate Guardian and the King Healer slime first. Okay, there went the Gate Guardian. There went the slime.
わかったわ。行くわよ。
Let's see if we can attract everybody to come all the way down to the bottom rather than me having to run around to all those platforms.
ここで決めるわ。逃がすな。
了解。
Okay, well, Terry's gotten back down to her. There's the second demon user. There's the third. Okay, having everybody come down here was a lot faster than trying to deal with them up at the top. Next two maps are both going to be Kill All Monsters quest. The first one is kind of a mini boss rush. We've got things like a King Leo and the Super Killer Machine and so on to take care of. The other one is a little bit more of an annoying map where you've got a lot of these really tall pillars that you have to jump between in order to reach some of the monsters. And so you'll be knocked off, or your jump won't make it, so you have to run around in order to get back up there again. Well, at least he didn't do his ice breath.
こんな場所で暑くないのでしょうか。だからこいつは猫じゃないと思うのよね。
やりましたね。さあ皆さん、先に進みましょう。
There's another map where I'm fast enough that they're still explaining what you're supposed to do by the time I finish killing the monsters.
強そうなのが出てきちゃったわね。それだけ敵も本気ということかしら。魔物がひるんだわ。攻撃のチャンスよ。よーし、今のうちにぶっ飛ばしてやりましょう。
It's another one of those dark columns where you have to push him off the side to kill him.
これも敵の仕掛けた罠なのかしら。触ったら大やけどですわ。皆さん気をつけて。
You're faster to tension. Let's see if I can get him to the full tension before the door opens.
このくらいちょろい
Nope, not quite. There's 2 monsters in here. One's all the way in the very back.
狭い場所で待ち伏せしておったか。ここでの戦いは血と骨が折れそうじゃな。
And having tension just makes it so I can run back there faster.
こういう場所での戦いで必要なの何より
It's also a Type G, one of these monsters, and he doesn't have a lot of HP, but he is really annoying to hit, and so big intention helps with that as well. See if we get him. I don't have a good angle, but it should be close enough that he still gets hit with the high tension move here.
どんな奴だろうと俺の完璧な作戦
You don't have him knocked on his butt. It's really a pain to chase him around the room when he does his spins.
「当然の結果だ俺に負けはない」
The start of this is really obnoxious because your characters will just run off the side of the platforms. And I'm going to try to get to Bianca before that happens. I didn't get to Bianca. Oh, she stayed up anyway. Basically everyone just charges off the side, like Terry did there. And I want to have Bianca available to shoot down some of the early monsters here. And you can get back up on that rail, but you have to run all the way around. Okay, there's all the upstairs ones. I get the party in the bottom. I mostly want to use Bianca to take away all the flyers, because they'll be hard to hit, and then I can use Terry to deal with like the Rexes and the Archdemons. Nice, even though I put him into freeze, he had already started casting his spell, and so he froze Terry in return. And I went to end up on this guy last because the exit to the level is up at the top. So up there is Helmuto's evil throne for resurrecting Shamdar. And Helmuto is not going to be where the split is. Turns out there is more content and bosses behind him. But for the first part of this fight, he's completely invulnerable. So there's nothing really that we can do besides hang out, build up some tension or such. Actually, let's go hang out over here. This is where one of his 2 ads is going to spawn in. We'll get a Belial and a Pazuzu that come in. This is going to be Belial's side. Terry, if you could come over here, that would be really nice. Nope. Guess I'm going to have to take you over manually. Stay away from Helmuto. Thank you. And as soon as he plays his cutscene, I could then start attacking him. There we go. So what I'm actually going to do is start off with Medante, or Magic Burst from Jessica, and then move in with Terry for close range attacks. I use Medante because it's the strongest of the finisher moves. It also puts him into stun for a little bit. And I use that time to build up more tension with Terry, and then put Helmuto back into stun again for the second part of it. Because otherwise he's really annoying teleporting around, doing stuff like this. And having me in lockdown like that just makes the fight go much faster. Now that we've taken down Helmuto, he's a load-bearing boss. So we're going to have a Super Metroid-style escape. That timer at the top is just basically your time until the island is going to explode. We will not come anywhere close to that though. Hopefully there should be 4 minutes or left on the clock by the time it's done.
からも魔物がお出ましたぜ。
もう急いでるのにパパッといっぺんにやっつけちゃいましょう。ほれ
And I use Maya here with the Meteorite Armband to just run as quickly as possible through the level. There's no point stopping to kill anything except for those big rocks who are physically blocking the path.
うまく避けつつ先に進むんだ。
If everything goes well, we'll have full tension by the end of it, which lets me take out the last set of rocks with Maya's high tension attack plus like one more little blow. For some reason, they keep zooming the map automatically. It's really annoying. I guess it's to kind of show you the way out.
絶対絶命ってやつでゲスね。とにかくバトシへ目指して急ぐでガスよ。
みんなバトシエはもうすぐよ。急ぎましょう。
よーし、皆の者全速力で駆け足。
So almost had full tension. Just needed a little bit of charging at the end.
ここで決めるわ。ニガースラー。透視すぎり。透視すぎり。
My other characters are still only halfway through the map. I think they got stuck on one of those rocks.
こんなところで負けてらんないわ。
There's no actual rubber banding in this game, so they don't like go at super speed to catch up to you. And normally that's not a problem because you're going to be stopping to fight monsters or something, and so they'll have a little bit of time to close the distance. But that map, they just couldn't get anywhere close to me, so if I had to switch away from Maya, that would have been really bad. So here's King Hydra, who's the real boss of this area. He first appeared in Dragon Warrior 3, and his gimmick is when he does the breathing in attack, if you throw a bomb crag in his mouth. Oh, give me a coin there. Ah, not fast enough. Both, he'll take extra damage,
爆発の威力を利用する。
as well as be stunned by it.
キングヒドラ。
攻撃が効いているみたいですよ。
この調子でいけば島が沈む前になんとかやっつけられそうでガス。
There we go. In the new game, pretty much the only way to deal with him is the bomb crags.
この方法しかないわ。
Whereas in New Game Plus, we have enough damage that we can ignore it and still do perfectly okay.
見せてやるぜ。ジオスパーク。はやぶさに。
They kind of recreate the fight on the volcano scene from Dragon Warrior 3 as well there. Where you've got Ortega fighting, and then he falls into the volcano at the end. And so now we get to the final area of quests, and you come here thinking, okay, most of these sections are like 3 or 4 maps. There's probably not that much more of the game, but these are really super long maps. The first one's not too bad. It's basically taking you back to the tutorial area, but it's replaced all the monsters with high-level versions.
片っ端からやっつけていくわよ。
This is the same location where Homiron first taught us how to play the game. Which might have had more impact if it took me more than like 2.5 hours to get back here. Hopefully it will not count that metal babble towards monsters I need to kill in order to open this gate. So that's the first easy one. The next 3 quests are going to be the really long ones. First we're going to have a Protect the Throne quest where we're going all the way around the castle here. And these are the next couple of maps that you fought at the very beginning of the game. This time we'll have to both take down the monster portals as well as guard the throne as an additional objective. This is going to be a bit of a new route. I used to do, at this point, a trip back into where the throne is in order to cut over to the right-hand side. But I'm going to try going around the back. It seems to be a little bit faster to go this way. So I don't have to go up and down all the stairs in front of the throne room. And after that, you think the level is just going so well, but all the quests in this series kind of crank up the difficulty a bit from what you've seen so far in the main game. If you position yourself just right, you can get both the top level and the bottom level guys with the high tension attack. I won't know if I got it until I actually go down there, though. Yep. I can tell because he's already below half health. Go put Terry in attention to run the way back. And this one, if you get it just right, you can also hit both monsters, but it's much harder since you're doing it blind through a wall, and Terry's got a much more linear attack. So there are other monsters back on the other side, and I won't know if I hit them until I get around to them. See that corner. I like the first one, which I can pretty much do all the time. This one's much less likely to work. Why don't you die? Thank you. Smiling Rock was really persistent. Yeah, looks like I got him. Hear that where the boss troll was damaged really quickly.
したことなかったな。
And so now comes probably my least favorite quest in the game. You have to go around escorting the villagers. The first two are not so bad. You basically take them back to the starting point for the map. The last one takes you on a tour of the whole freaking town here. And that's why it makes it for one of the longest maps in the game. I shouldn't actually say it's my least favorite. There's probably other ones with like early game monsters that aren't all that interesting. This one at least has some good combat in it. We'll have to take care of all these guys in the way back when we're escorting Grandma. But for right now, the priority is to get to her first. That lets her get through the cutscenes more quickly. Come on, trigger.
大丈夫か。俺たちが城まで護衛しよう。
Come on. She's one of the NPCs where you have to be right next to her, and she moves really slowly, or else she won't progress. Okay, now it looks like she's caught up. That's why I don't kill the monsters on the way down, because I have all this time on the way back up before Grandma's ready to follow. Looks good. Second one of these is going to be escorting a prisoner out. And I've got a little bit of time to kill before he is ready to go down there, because there's a cutscene for the gates to open. There we go. He is also super slow. A little bit faster than Grandma, though.
了解だ
Are you happy? Oh, no. You guys are probably why he wasn't going to progress. And now the super annoying guy.
もう二度と風呂には近づかねえよ。誰かいませんか。
了解だ行くぜ助けてください扉の前に魔物がいて出られないんです
Nike needs a lot of Terry's tension here just to kind of blow away this hallway. Anytime that you got a long linear sequence, Terry's pretty good at that because he's got a straight line attack.
待ってろ今片付ける
Hill Butler being a bit of a jerk.
おかげで助かりましたでも僕一人で逃げるわけにはいきません実はここまで逃げてくる途中で妻とはぐれてしまって
So here we get the plot about him having to find his girlfriend, and once again, he doesn't know where she is, so we're going to go all around the city, and every time we go to a wrong spot, swarms of monsters.
よろしいのですかありがとうございます妻とはぐれたのはこっちの方です僕についてきてください
Fortunately, he is much faster than the other two characters. I use Terry's tensions the most because he's the quickest to get it back. And so any map where I have to do like 4 or 5 tension attacks, probably, even if it's not ideal to use him, I'll end up having to get a couple with him just because he'll be the only one that has enough. Okay, here we get a bit of a fake out. Normally you have to fight all the monsters along the way to make the quest guys continue on. This guy is not really bothered by this group up here. I don't know if that's a bug or something where you're supposed to wait for that crowd to be killed off. I did it too soon. I'm gonna have to wait for those guys to spawn in. Terry's overhand smash is lightning elemental, so it's able to take down things like the killer machine gun. There's not much left to this map. He's going to go around to the top side, and then we'll have to circle around all the way back to the beginning as well after that. But we're at least halfway through his circuitous trip. Guys back there. I tend to forget about the knight and these two Rexes in the back, just because they're separated off by the metal fence. And unless you come up to this back platform, you don't really see them. Are you stuck on something? There we go. This is where he finds his girlfriend. And this couple is really freaking tough, because these are some very high-level monsters, and they just stand in the middle and get pounded for a good while before you lose the map.
お前怪我はしてないかい？
大丈夫よ、あなた。来てくれるって信じてたわ。見せつけてくれちゃって。さあ、早いとこ城へ避難するわよ。
So we reunited the couple, but we're not quite done yet. Come on. There we go.
ここで決めるわ。逃がすな。
了解だ。
我が子が頑張りどころね。お願い、ゲレゲレ。ありがとう。ちょっとやりすぎちゃったの。覚悟するのね。ま、こんなもんよね。
皆さん本当にありがとうございました。このご恩は一生忘れません。
I don't think the tensions at the end really save much time, but they are a flashy way to go out.
スタイルと魔法なら誰にも負けないわ。
Basically prevents them from doing a bunch of ads, but you have to wait for the animations to play through. So it kind of balances. And so we've got one more regular quest bit, and like the other ones in this section, it's kind of a doozy. So we're going to have a whole bunch of enemies spawn all over that same map, and we're going to have to run around closing the portals before they can send enough troops to the main gates to knock them down. This will be the only place where I actually use summon monsters, and that's so I can drop a bunch right here by the front and go around to all the gates while they're being closed, without having to do as many trips back to clear out the gate area. There's the King Slime coin. Okay, it looks like we've got the first branch down. This is just the warm-up for triggering the gates to appear. There's a whole lot more map ahead of us. See if we can recruit these 2 Rexes as well. If I get everybody to half tension, they should be pretty much full by the time we do all the fighting when they come back to the clearing out the main gate section at the very end. See if we can get him through the wall. We're a little bit far away to do Terry's tension attack, although it is lined up. I think we got at least damage on him, although it didn't kill him. Now each of the gates has spawned an additional big monster that's going to go charge into the front area. This next one's kind of tucked out of the way. It took me a while to really figure out where it's placed, because it's kind of deceptive on the map. It looks like it's on the other side, but it's back in this area where we rescued the guy and his girlfriend. I won't be able to deploy this Battle Rex, but if I get one more coin after this, because I'll have a full inventory, it'll recover the HP of my monsters that are sitting by the gate. Hey, Riggison, welcome in. Yep, it should be pretty good. I actually did a run offline and got a 3:59:30, so I knew at least 9 minutes was going to come off. But this is a couple minutes ahead of that even. And that doorway back there, normally that's closed off, so if you ever fight this map again, there'll be a sealed door there. But in this one instance, you can cut through in order to get to the monster on the backside.
そうね、人がいてこそのお城だもの。何が何でも守り抜くわ。
Come on. There you go. You were not helping here, Ecclebiter. So my Gate Guardians are starting to fall away, but we've killed off all of the guys outside, and now I can run back here and use tension both to run faster as well as to fire off a big shot and try to clear out some of the things in the crowd. There should only be about 10 minutes or so until all the real action's done, although we still have to watch the credits because this is a Japanese timed run.
ここで決めるわ。
It looks like we got everything. Now I'm kind of worried because, there we go. I have soft locked this game before, where you just finish the map and then the last objective just never appears, so you have to redo the mission. Fortunately, it was just being really slow. So we protected the gates. Only thing left there is Shamdar, and Shamdar has two phases. The first phase is just an introductory sequence. He's going to very, very slowly walk up this entire length to the castle. You do 1 point of damage to him, but doesn't actually track damage, and he doesn't do any damage to you. It's a very extended cutscene. And then we're going to try to do an AI loop on him. The AI loop basically is to cut out a bunch of segments where he does a cutscene and flies around invulnerable for a while. And it involves basically having him knocked down and stun during the times when he'd be trying to play the cutscene. So there's a lot of timing involved in getting that. And I can't do anything towards this. I can't even build up tension because it'll all be reset when it does the second part of the fight.
後ろに下がってなさい。もう逃げないって決めたんだ。世界を元に戻すために一緒に頑張るよ。
ゴミロ、お前も随分強くなったな。よし、行くぞ。はぐれるなよ。
So this is kind of a cool move that Terry can do. It's like a triple somersault with lightning sword. I don't have any good places to use it other than wasting time on Shamdar. Looks really cool though.
他の魔物とは桁違いの力ですね。
こ
Here's Jessica's hustle dance.
止められない。なんて力なの。どうしよう。こいつを止めるにはどうしたら。
落ち着け。奴も無敵じゃないはずだ。
分かってるわよ。でも早くしないと城のみんなが。
Now in the Shamdar fight, there's going to be a couple things going on. I'm going to primarily have Terry for my main party control, but Shamdar's got this move where he puts a black band around your character, and if you don't switch away from whatever character he puts that on, instant death by the time the black band hits the bottom of the ground. So every once in a while I might have to go away from Terry.
二人とも本当に強くなったな。守護者として誇りに思うぞ。さあ、このわしがついておる。持てる力をすべて発揮するのじゃ。
That's an example of him doing the black band. I just kind of have to do a gut feel for when I think the attack is over, and I can switch back to Terry.
仲間として。泥棒を追ってきたらまさかこんなすごい相手と戦うことになるなんて。私ってとってもラッキーね。やっつけてお父様に自
And the setup I'm doing, I basically have to get Shamdar down about 1/3 before I do the first tension move.
俺は大勢で群れるのは好きじゃない。
And I do the black band again.
たまにはこういうの。仲間の絆っていうのは悪くない。
Feels like we're just about right for doing it. So I'm going to wait for him to stop doing all this junk and try to get right in his face when I do the tension. And if I do this right, I'm going to get him, or Terry, back into tension right when Shamdar stands up again. So normally Shamdar would be doing a cutscene when you got him down below 1/3 health or so, and he'd go flying around, and you have to wait for the battleship to shoot him and knock him back down. And then he does another cutscene when he's down at like 2/3 health. But with doing this, we just skipped all of that, and we kept him basically locked down on the ground here. So there he's standing up, and then we knock him down, and this should be the final hit. And so that was Dragon Quest Heroes. The rest from this point on is all pure cutscenes, so I can't skip anything or make it go any faster. So enjoy the ending. That was a really good Elseza, which was the last section I went through. I saved a lot of time in the quest fights itself. The boss was probably like 3 minutes faster from doing the AI loop, but I saved like another 5 minutes on top of that in just running around more optimized. Yeah, I was not expecting to be able to pull 8 minutes out of that last bit. I wasn't expecting to get as much as I did out of the first half either. Because like I said, last time I did this, I was about 9 minutes ahead of these splits.
闇が光に変わっていく。
So I'm gonna go get a drink, let you guys enjoy the show for a little bit.
く暮らせるんだね。ホミロン、ありがとう。
みんなにもな。さあ、お祭りのやり直しだ。
And for those that want a summary, because we skipped all the plot, true courage was inside Homiron's heart the whole time. And that's what defeated Shamdar in the end. Plus, I think we hit him with some swords a whole bunch. That might have helped a little bit as well.
みんなたくましいの。あれだけのことがあったというのに、この盛り上がりようじゃ。
あんなことがあったからこそですわ。今回の一件では人も魔物も傷つき、悲しい思いをたくさんしましたもの。大変な苦難を乗り越えた喜びを皆で分かち合っているのでしょう。あ、ねえ、見て。
あれは。
きっと私たちを迎えに来てくれたんだわ。元の世界へ送り届けるためにね。
Now, as far as I know, this game is still on track for coming out in the US in about 3 months.
みんな帰っちゃうの？
And we might also be getting the Dragon Quest
お祭りが終わる
3DS remix. Especially looking forward to Dragon Quest 8, because I think that's a game which was really good on the PS2. And I hope more people will get into it, because it was one of the better ones in the later half of the Dragon Quest series. So having it on a platform that people are playing again might spur more to try it.
賑やかなのが終わった後だとお別れがもっと寂しくなっちゃいそうだから。
そうですね。姫様のおっしゃる通り、我々はこの辺りでおいとますることにいたしましょ
分かっていたこととはいえ、いざさよならとなるとやっぱり寂しいでガス。
やめてよ。私まで泣きそうになっちゃうじゃない。私たち強い絆で結ばれた仲間ですもの。本当はずっと一緒にいたい。でも元の世界にも私たちの帰りを待ってる大切な人がいる。だから戻らなくちゃ。そうよね。すごく寂しいけど、みんなには元の世界に帰るべき場所があるんだものね。
ほら、ホミロン。あんまりみんなを困らせるなよ。
やあね、湿っぽくなっちゃって。根性の別れってわけでもないんだし、もっと明るくさよならしましょうよ。別の世界に暮らしていても私たちこうして出会えたんだもの。きっとまた会えるわ。そうね。絶対また会いましょう。うん、約束よ。
また会うことがあればはっきりさせようぜ。俺の剣とお前の完璧な作戦、どっちが強いかってことをな。ああ、約束だ。
行っちゃった。これで全部終わったのね。
いや、まだ終わりじゃない。みんなの力で闇竜は滅び、世界は平和を取り戻した。だがいつまたヘルムードのような奴が現れないとも限らない。それに俺たちがまだ見ぬ世界がいくつもあるんだ。この世界の外にどんな危険が潜んでいるのかわからない。つまりだ、俺たちはこれからも。
また長いやつ？分かってるわよ。守っていきましょう、私たちの世界を。ずっと一緒に。
ああ。
Then we get to enjoy the ending theme, which is Into the Legend. I always try to say Into the Light, but it's one of my favorite ending themes, and it's been used in a lot of Dragon Warrior games. Dragon Warrior 3 probably was the first time that I heard it, and it kind of worked as a good theme for the whole series for a while. This game does have a ton of post main quest content, both in the game itself as well as the DLC. I'm assuming the DLC is all going to be included on the disc when it comes out in the US. Japan, you had to download it, but it was free, so it wasn't like you had to get all these extra quests by doing micropayments. They just gave it to you. That's where you got a fight with Dark Dream, Bjorn, and Zoma, as well as some quest storylines for each of the character pairs that came into the world. Yeah, they did a lot of things right in this game. Skippable cutscenes, which Square Enix never does. Free DLC, actually good stuff at the end. Like it's really well produced, and it uses the Dragon Warrior properties extremely effectively.